the Perseus trial was a trial of newly diagnosed myeloma patients between the ages of 18 and 70. Patients were randomized to an induction regimen of either triplet therapy, bortezomib, lenalidomide, and dex, or quadruplet therapy, daratumumab, lenalidomide, and dexamethasone, followed by autologous stem cell transplant, and then followed by a consolidation phase, again, of 2 cycles, one arm being DVRD, the other arm being BRD. And then I think what is the most interesting to us also is the maintenance, where one arm got daratumumab lenalidomide maintenance, the other arm got lenalidomide maintenance, and then there was a de-escalation based on MRD status at 24 months of maintenance. And this trial cemented what many of us were already doing in regards to induction, and showed that with quadruplet induction, you had much higher rates of MRD negativity, and at 75% in the DVRD arm versus only 47% in the VRD arm. And even more important, this is concept of sustained MRD. And again, that was significantly higher in the quadruplet arm, which also was the arm that was getting DARA-R maintenance. And ultimately, the primary endpoint was progression-free survival. And at a median follow-up of almost 4 years, the progression-free survival was 84% in the DVRD arm and 67.7% in the VRD arm. So, all data there were pointing to the fact that quadruplet induction increases depth of MRD negativity, and also improves progression-free survival. I think the approval, in a way, will make it easier, obviously, for access to be able to get the quadruplet therapy is really becoming standard of care in induction therapy. And obviously, the Perseus trial was still a relatively younger group of patients, right up to age 70. So I think certainly for that young group of patients, it suggests that now quadruplet induction is the standard of care. And again, hopefully this allows more and more patients to have access to this, defined standard of care now. I think certainly, quadruplet therapy does come still at the face of more risk in the sense of infection, certainly, and neutropenia really being the 2 things we think about. So supportive care is very important, being aware that patients likely will have, more challenges in terms of blood count, and, management of that will be important as well. I mean, to me, really, it's more the infection risk, right? We tend to see more respiratory infections. Fortunately, most of them tend to be lower grade, upper respiratory infections in the patients treated with the daratumumab. So again, supportive care, attention to infection. Often we use IVIG prophylaxis as well if needed. All those things, can help successfully keep patients on this more intensive therapy. Fatigue is certainly more common, more intensive therapy. So I think educating patients in regards to expectations is one issue. In terms of the way Perseus was given and the use of the bortezomib, I mean, I think that was a little bit different than the way we often give it in true clinical practice, because the bortezomib there was given twice a week, days 1, 4, 8, and 11, so the standard dose. Many of us in true clinical practice usually give it once a week, sometimes at a slightly higher dose. So there are somewhat nuances to it that, may be different, in the real world versus what was done on the trial. And hopefully that in a way will also help with tolerability in regards to neuropathy, for example. Giving twice a week bortezomib can be challenging for patients.